Hello again, and welcome back to the town of Rowan. Today I'm going to show you guys something a little bit different. I was looking at different plugins, trying to get this server to have more of a role-playing feel, and it turns out that Factions isn't really doing it for me. So the problem I have with it is that I'm worried that people are going to just start making like the most solid structure that they can and just make these impregnable fortresses and then have the wars, with neighboring clans and just try to take all their stuff. And I don't want to create a war server. And it seems like primarily that's what Factions is designed for, is just to make people kill people so you can take your land or whatever. But I want more of a role-playing feel, so I've been looking at things like the MC MMO, which is nice, but I'm not really sure that's working for me. The Skyrim plugin thing for Minecraft. That one's kind of caught my eye. I may add that one. If you guys know of any other good role-playing mods, or plugins rather, for Bucket Server, let me know. I'm not going to downgrade to like Spout or something like that, and use Spoutcraft or whatever the thing is that you got to go back to, or like the Yogg box where you got to go back to like 1.0 or 1.1 or something like that. It's got to be 1.2.5 compatible, or at least work in it. I've got some plugins that are 1.1 based, but they still work in 1.2.5, which is what I'm running this server at so far. And I want to be able to keep upgrading it as the new versions of Minecraft come out. I'm just going to keep going with it. So if the plugin's not something that seems to be updated regularly, it may end up getting cut. But the thing is I went ahead and so far, instead of using not residents, but factions, I've added Towny-Advanced, and Towny hadn't been touched in a long time, and then I found Towny-Advanced, and I'm like, I think they switched to this, and it's a lot better, it has way more stuff in it. One of the things I like is you can have like different sections in your town. Like you can have a shops area, you can have arenas, you can have an embassy, so like somebody could set up like a base in your base, and like an embassy, and it's kind of cool. And there's like just a lot more to it. The only thing I don't like is in factions you could set up a safe zone, and you didn't really have to have it owned by anyone. And so what I'm going to show you here is this is kind of like a lot of the basic commands for Towny, where you can just type in like resident and it gives you the top line, which got cut off a little bit, but it basically tells when I registered, and that's when I registered in Towny, and since I installed Towny on April 5th, that's when it's going to be registered. When I was last online, which is today, uh, I own 0 plots, which I find weird because I'm not really sure what Rowan is because I selected it, but I don't know. It's kind of weird. I think you have to use a different command like plan or something like that. The perm is basically like flags that are set, so it's like build. F is friendly, I believe. Destroy, switch, and item. Those are all things that I can do on stuff that's friendly to me. And what that means, well, I'll get to that in a second. And PvP is off. And I'm probably going to turn that on because I think the overall server I have turned off. Or maybe it's that way because I'm in creative mode right now. Explosions off, fire spray, that stuff is kind of weird. And there's my account and my town. So then you go down to Rowan, which is the town level, and you have a board message that says welcome to Rowan. Town size 139 chunks out of 158 that are available. And then the home is -9, 16. That's like the home chunk. And then permissions build. The home chunk is basically where your like capital of the town is, or like where your town hall essentially should be, or where you want your town spawn to be, because you can only put the spawn point for that town in the home block. So then permissions in here: build, destroy, switch, and item. I don't want any player, whether they're outsider or builder or whatever, to be able to build or destroy any of the towns. So it's because this is going to be like a neutral NPC type town. And then there's a switch usage, so that's like doors, pressure plates, switches, buttons, all that kind of stuff. Residents can do that, allies can do that, and offensive people can do that. Or not offensive, but outsiders. So anyone who's not a resident or an ally to this town or nation um, is considered an outsider. And so even people who just sign on to the server, they're considered outsiders to this town. And so I wanted them to be able to come in here and check it out and all that kind of stuff. Item use, I believe, is for like buckets and things, but it may have to do with chests. So it's probably fine leaving the chest set to only residents. That would prevent anyone that's not a member of this town from just looting everything constantly. Explosions off, fire spread off, mob spawns off, so no mobs are going to spawn inside here. The bank daily upkeep costs 1 economy money amount, which I'm just using dollars. So it costs $1 every time a 24-hour period, and that's real time, not in-game time. 24-hour period passes, it costs $1. I made upkeep on this server low because I just don't want people to be punished for having towns. The bank is, full. I wanted to make sure that I would never have to touch this again. And then taxes is 5%. You can set a flat rate, so it could just be like $10, 24-hour period. But the tax rate, if you run out of money, you get booted from the town. And so if it's 10 and you only have 10, it takes your last $10. And then if you don't come back with more money, the next time it goes to take that $10, this is, oh, your balance is 0, we're kicking you out of the town, your house will turn back to the wilds and turns to ruins and everything's gross. I don't want that to happen. So I want players to be able to come and go whenever they want to, and if they want to take off a month, they can take off a month, and there's no worry about their house being destroyed afterwards. There may be some settings on here to where if it's been like 2 or 3 months, then eventually, it's like that much inactivity. I'm just going to convert the house back to available for other players or whatever. If it's in a town, if it's out in the wilds, it'll just convert back to the wilds. But having a percentage tax prevents you from losing your house due to insufficient funds. So the 5% just takes 5% of whatever you have. So if you get down to like $1, 5% of $1 is 0.05 bucks, and it's going to round off to the nearest number, which would be 0. So it's just going to not take any more money. But so anyway, let's continue. So the mayor is who founded the town, which is me, FrightFX. The nation, and I had to make a nation name for this town to be affiliated with, and so I named the nation Althalos, and so far you can have, as far as I can tell, you can have as many towns as you want to be members of this nation, but I'm going to have 2 nations. I have Leif and I have Althalos, and Althalos is the red nation and Leif is the blue nation, and the flags and things in here are going to be indicative of that, so you'll see like blue flags and red flags depending on where you're at. And then come to think of it, I think the flags are red in Fourth Wind. Might have to switch this around. Anyway, so in the residents, there's 1, which is the leader. FireFX me. So when other people join the town, that'll go up. Based on how many members you have in your town, you'll get more blocks, so your town size can increase. Or the nation can just give you a bonus. Like I just gave a bonus of 140 blocks to this, so that way you could build as much as you want. And being a member of the nation apparently gives you a bonus of 10 as well, so which is what you see up there in the middle. And so then down at the bottom, land of Althalos nation. So this is a nation of Althalos, and it's got like $10 million or whatever it is, for money, because it's set to a neutral nation. And so the daily upkeep on that, every 24-hour period, it takes $100 out. And when that upkeep gets to where it can't take the $100 out, so if the bank drops below $100, I lose the neutral status, which you see on the right there. And then during times of war, which you can still do in here, but you have to declare war, so that way it prevents people from just going rampant all the time. You declare war, and then anything that's neutral you can't attack. But things that aren't neutral you can attack. And so the way this server is going to be set up is I'm not going to just randomly declare war. I'm going to make it to where if somebody's having a problem with another nation, or a town's having a problem with another town or whatever, then they'll kind of treat it, like you would in a real thing, where they would go to somebody's town hall or to the Capitol building, which happens to be Rowan for this nation, and they would talk to their king and say, hey, I want to declare war on these guys, blah, blah, blah. And then the king, who would also be able to, he'd be a moderator or admin or whatever, would be able to declare war, and then those nations can go to war. And I think, unfortunately, war is everywhere. So I think if there's two nations that have nothing to do with anything, they're at war too. But so I may have to change that or tweak that or something, or maybe somebody knows some way, like maybe I can just set everyone else to neutral, or whoever does it would do that. But this isn't a Towny-Advanced tutorial. This is just kind of me babbling about what I want to do with this server. And I know it's kind of boring just looking at this screen, but so the king, the leaders, fried effects, and I may switch that to like somebody else, if they want to take over this town or something. But right now I think Rowan's probably going to be my primary town, or Fourth Wind. I haven't decided yet. But unfortunately I can't be the king of both places. So anyhow, so that is one thing I wanted to show you. And then this right here, oh, it's kind of jerky. This right here is going to be the home of the new amphitheater / arena, and you can kind of get at the feel of where it is. It's kind of like behind the inn, back in this corner over here. And the reason I decided to make this is I noticed that with Towny-Advanced, you can set sections. So like this chunk and that chunk that the market's in are set to merchant chunks. And I think there's something you can set for the inn. I'm not sure what other settings you can do. I think the church maybe like a... I don't know, I'd have to look at it again, but you can set things up to where you have like shops and other stuff like that. I think I can just do plot ? Let's see, plot toggle. Yeah, no, I don't know. I'll have to do a little more research, but like I said, you can set up different areas to be different things. So like out around the perimeter of Rowan, I have set this to wilds. So you'll see when I go here it says wilds, which is not the same as wilderness, which is what you reach when you go just a little bit further out. And then when I get back to Rowan, see it says wilds on the extent, and then you go in here and, well, it won't go off because it just doesn't have a message. So when you go out here, you'll get the message that says wilds when you get to a certain spot. And what the wilds do is, the theory behind it anyway, wow, look at that flickering. That's bizarre. Something was going on. Oh, well, there it is again. I don't know, something wrong with my graphics card, I think. Or maybe it's when the... let's see, this is probably going to screw things up. I'll try that and see what it does. See if it's any... I guess it's still decently smooth, but... So anyway, you go out to the wilds, you can chop down trees and things, and people... Like, anyone can chop down these trees, and then slowly over time they'll like reform back to the way they were. So it basically creates a landscape that can be modified and harvested. You can get coal and ore and all that kind of stuff, but it's going to replenish, so it'll continue to give people resources and not make the landscape ugly. And I think you can set whether it happens like every second or every 20 seconds or each day or however you want to do it. And I don't know how I'm going to do it. I'll probably make it like a couple of hours or so, because I don't want people to just like go outside and just start chopping on the same spot, and like every second it just reforms and stuff like that. But that doesn't matter. That's not important. So the idea behind this right here is one of the things you can set it up to be is an arena. So, and it uses chunks. So as you can see, I've got a chunk here, and it fits inside. Let me set the time back to day. It fits inside the perimeter of this like arena. And I know you're probably wondering, well, what's with the raised things and stuff? Well, this is the amphitheater configuration. And so my plan is I'm going to make that theater portion drop down. This row of seating is going to drop down, and that row of seating is going to retract back into the wall. So essentially you'll have sort of this big sand arena when it's a combat type situation, and then when it's the amphitheater for plays or announcements or whatever goes on in towns such as this. Back in the medieval times, they would have like plays, and like a bunch of male actors would get up here and put on shows for people, and there would be a box probably somewhere on one of these sides that would be for the royalty. And the same thing applies for arenas. You'd have a box for the royalty, so there'll probably be a box right dead center right here. And then there'll be further up here, there'll be more seating, and the seating will go 180 degrees around. When it's in amphitheater mode, these would be like the cheap seats, or maybe not even used. I may even have like, I don't know, something that pushes all those seats out or drops them down or something makes them go away. I probably just won't worry about it. They just won't get used. And then the good seats would be all around here. And then I'll probably have an entrance like right here somewhere to the arena, and then another one on that side, or maybe it'll just be right here. And then on this side, there'll be another one right here, so probably this seating is going to disappear. So that way the gladiators can come in, or we can let tigers, if I had tigers, I guess they'd be ferocious ocelots, or probably more like wolves, skeletons, zombies, that kind of stuff. Unless we have players that want to duel, then they'd come in here, So I think it just really depends on what setup you go with. So I might make like a button around the perimeter. You step on the button, it opens the gate, sends in a zombie, or you step on a button, it sends in a skeleton or something like that you can fight. Or I'll have something, up here where the king can just hit buttons and it'll open gates for them, or use a dispenser to just spit them out. But either way, I think it'll be a lot of fun. And out here is going to be the walkway around the perimeter, and then since the seating is going to continue up here, there'll be another walkway out here. And so the arena itself will probably be, much bigger than this, but the actual fighting floor is just going to be 16 by 16. And I thought, well, maybe I could expand it and make it double and come all the way out here, but it's still a thought. I may move the stage to the center and then add seating, all the way around the perimeter. I don't know. I think I kind of like it small, though. Makes for the fighting to be a little tighter, but I plan on showing you guys the build of this, but I'm not sure I'm going to do it step by step, because I already tried like laying out, had a much more elaborate plan where this whole floor right here was going to drop down. The theater would stay where it is. That would create one more row of seating all right here. And I realized that the only way to get pistons to work from beneath them is to have a redstone torch. You can't use repeaters, you can't use wiring unless there's something I'm missing. So having this huge field right here of all pistons that had to drop, I would have had to build this elaborate pyramid system of redstone torches with, inverting circuits and all this other stuff. And one, I'm not that good with redstone yet, and two, that just sounds like way too much work. And so what I've decided rather is that this floor is going to stay flat, which I like better anyway, because that way underneath it I can put a network of tunnels and things for you know, the prisoners and all that kind of stuff. And then just this is going to raise up. So I'm still going to have some fun building the little pyramid scheme to try to get this to raise in the center. And you know, you can do a lot of stuff just on the outside edge, that's fine. But then for like each level in you got to go down to. So I'll probably do it from the front, I'm guessing. So I don't know, it's going to be really involved. So I'll probably build that off camera and then just kind of show you guys how it was done, because it's going to be a lot of research on my part, and I just don't know if I'm, you know, willing to show people how badly I am with working with redstone. But the rest of this stuff shouldn't be too hard. And then, you know, around here, like I said, I'll probably build a lot of this off camera and then come back and show you. My intent was to build it all on camera. Now that I have my video lengths increased, I can record longer. But I just don't have free time to do it today. So what I'll probably do is build it at a place that unfortunately I can't record. So I'm probably going to have to just build a lot of it and then just kind of give you little updates. And then if you want like a tutorial on it, or you know, just kind of a little bit more explanation of how it was built or whatever, I might be able to tear it down. But I think it's going to be pretty simple. I think the area underneath, you know, the catacomb type network for the prisoners and all that kind of stuff, that will probably be way more involved than what you see up here. And so maybe with that I'll try to record the build of it at least. But that's pretty much all I had to show you guys right now. I know it's not a very exciting video. Maybe just as a little treat for the end, I'll show you what I have done to the church over here. First, let me deselect that box, otherwise you're gonna go insane. Got all these little aminals here. I also did a little work on the roads and landscaping and stuff like that, just trying to get a little better. So this probably looks the same. However, if you go up here, I've added these rails. I think I swapped out. I've got like iron bars up there for handrails now instead of the nether brick stair, or those guys, nether fins. So I've got this area that goes down, and then you're into the catacombs under the church. And this was frustrating. Oh, there's broken stuff there. I have to fix that later. But this was frustrating because I had this all done. I had signs up for like different saints, like little plaques of what they are. I think there's still one around here somewhere. But I was building a sewer system underneath the town too, and I'll show you that in just a second. But I needed to move things around down here for the sewer system to fit around it. And then this would be like the housing, broken bed. This would be like the housing for the priest or whatever. And I may make that bigger and make it more like a dorm type system, because there's probably going to be more than one guy living here. But I wanted it to be more or less self-sufficient. I also built like this altar kind of thing. These torches used to be on those, which was nice, but I had to move everything in the town so that the arena wasn't up against the wall. So as a result, it kind of like messed everything up. So I got to go back through and like double check everything to make sure that it's not all broken. And it really wreaked havoc with all my other plugins too, like the redstone torches, because you know they were like, say, there, and then since the world, I moved them over, they're in a different spot. So it's telling you, hey, over here is a redstone torch, even though there's no redstone torch there. So when you know, the sun goes down, sun goes up, whatever, it doesn't work. So this is the organ now. I can't remember how much of this I've already showed you, but I'm thinking about making this more elaborate too. But it's on this little like balcony area back here. I also got rid of the balcony that was up here so this altar could be big. And The other thing I want to show you now is this over here. If we go to the market, you'll see there's this like sewer grate right here, and then down below. Now I don't want to give away everything that's down there. I don't really want to tell you how to get down there. That's something you'll have to explore on your own when you do get into the server. But when you do get down here, if I can stop acting like an idiot. When you get down here, there's like this big cistern. There's like paths that go every direction, and some take you to various places. So as you can probably guess, the keep, now that I've added toilets, somewhere down here you get access to the toilets by jumping in the toilets from the keep. You can, if you don't die, then you can find your way down here. But yeah, it's just pretty elaborate sewer system so far, and I plan on making it much bigger. And I've actually started to get lost down here from time to time, so it's pretty bad when you're the guy who built it. But most of the major buildings are going to have plumbing, so you'll have a way to get down here from most of the major builds. And then like the individual housing, they probably won't have plumbing unless like maybe the richer houses or something like that. So you can probably look forward to some fun down here. I spawned in a squid because it's deep enough for them right there. It's like 3 levels deep, and then they run off down these tracks and stuff. But I think because it's in Towny and there's no monster spawns available, when you like reset things, they just disappear. So chances of the squid being down here is very rare now. But yeah, so hopefully that's pretty cool and you guys like this stuff. And I look forward to getting this server up and running so you guys can join it. I may have like 1 or 2 people join to playtest, or if we have some good builders who want to come in and build some things, that would be awesome. But I'm going to be really picky about it because I kind of want to keep the quality high on here. I'm not saying I'm the best builder, but I don't want dirt houses and things like that. I don't want plain houses. And I definitely don't want anything that doesn't look medieval in nature. So if you have some videos of builds or pictures of builds, or if you have a server that you want me to just come in and check out, and then you want to be able to come in here and build with me, let me see your stuff, and if I like it, then I'll probably give you access to this. But I'm not going to let too many people in right now because I'm constantly like trying out new plugins and changing things, and the server goes down quite a bit because I have to basically just clear it out and restart it and stuff like that. So it'll be frustrating to somebody if they're building something and they get kicked, but chances are it's not going to be off for more than like a minute or 2 while I'm doing stuff like that, so it shouldn't be too frustrating if somebody's working and they get kicked out and they just wait a couple seconds and then come back on. But hopefully you guys enjoyed this, and that's all I got for right now. I hope to show you the arena soon. Thanks. Bye.